Hi guys, it's Baz here, the Everyday Vegan. Welcome to another episode of me vlogging or rambling on about random topics. So today I want to talk about coming out as a vegan, or as my friend Dan calls it, dropping the V-bomb. My personal experience, I guess, is the first thing I can share in this video. And it happened to actually start as a challenge. My then best friend Justin had been vegan for, I guess, 9 or 10 years at the time. And he's been traveling the world being vegan as well. So he's seen lots and lots of cuisine all around the world and has met lots of people and given talks and helped rescue animals, and he's done all that sort of stuff. So that's always played a big part in my life, and I've always been curious about it, although I used to be very, very dismissive of what he's been doing, more in a jokey way, never in a mean way. But it had never occurred to me that eventually it could change my opinion about it all. Anyway, I started as a 30-day challenge to go vegetarian, which happened in, it's a long time ago now, I guess 2012. It started at the end of 2012, around about October or so. And I found it so easy as a challenge, not in general, but I found it so easy as a challenge that I thought, oh well, why not go vegan as a challenge as well? So what happened after that is, after my month of vegetarianism, I went to KFC and had a massive meal, and I felt really rotten after, actually, to be honest. And I thought, okay, well, we go and do this vegan thing. And I did veganism for a while as well, and I really, really enjoyed it. I found it very challenging because I didn't used to cook a lot. And as soon as I went vegan, I sort of had to cook, because you can't just stop at KFC and get any food. And that part for me was probably a deciding factor in going vegan in the end. So after about 30 days, I thought, you know what, this is fun. I carried on a little bit longer and then went back to being an omnivore as such. And I guess over the Christmas period, etc., I kept thinking about it. And I sort of started talking to my family a little bit. And in early 2013, actually when I started making this channel, I went and became an egg-fish vegan, which is a thing that I invented or called myself, because my rationale behind it was that I have fished before and I've killed fish before, because that's what we did back when I was younger with my granddad. He was a big angler or fisherman, and I could very much get myself to steal eggs from chickens. So if I had to live in the wild or whatever, those are the two things that I would get myself to do quite happily. So that was my rationale for it in the beginning. And then after a little while of thinking about it a bit more, I sort of thought, you know what, I'm vegan now. And of course at that point, and this is what this video is meant to be about, not my vegan story, at that point I guess I had to start thinking about how to tell my family and friends. And I don't think I did that for quite some time, because I was still experimenting with it. And I knew that, you know, luckily I'm in a very supportive environment, so I don't think I was afraid of coming out or whatever. But I guess because I didn't want to sort of say, hey, I'm vegan now, and then 3 weeks later I decided not to be vegan anymore, I left it for a little while. And I remember going home to Berlin to see my family and having told my mother at that point that I was an egg-fish vegan, and the typical reaction was, from a German this is, the typical reaction usually is, well, but you know, your grandfather's eaten meat and your grandmother's eaten meat and everybody's been eating meat and dairy and they've lived a long and healthy life, and very, very typical things that I heard from them. But it was never nasty. Luckily my family are very nice, and because they've known Justin for a long time as well, I guess that was always a factor contributing to them being a little bit more open-minded. I had a lot of questions from especially my mom about health factors and, you know, have I really thought it through and have I done lots of reading up on it. She started sending me lots of articles, which I thought was really useful and really helpful, because of course at that time I was also still learning. And then I remember, after having been this egg-fish vegan for a while and making the first few videos, I then flew home to Berlin, and as I got home, and I must have just forgot to tell them, I actually said, oh yeah, by the way, no, I don't eat fish and eggs anymore. And I remember my mum's face just fell because she was so disappointed. She was like, oh, but I went to buy this really nice ecologically farmed salmon and all this stuff. So she had gone into a lot of effort, because obviously with the going vegan came all the, you know, low carbon footprint and make sure it's all organic and blah, blah, blah. All the things that we hopefully all care about as well. And I remember her face falling, and I said, yeah, you know, I'm really sorry, you can eat all that sort of stuff, but I'm just going to be vegan from now on. And I guess lucky for me, my family were quite accepting of that fact, and they, you know, they grumbled and they joked, but it was never in a nasty way, never to the extent of the stories that I hear from some people where they've said, oh, we don't talk to you anymore, you're not part of this family, blah, 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 blah. But this is also where this video is interesting for me, because I really desperately want you guys to please share your stories with me in the comments, because I want to find out what sort of stuff you guys go through when you came out as a vegan, to your family in particular. I also very quickly want to talk about how it now feels or then felt to come out to your friends. I guess part of my circle of friends had always been that sort of Justin camp where, you know, it's been known that he's vegan, and we've always been very accepting of that. And I have to say that most of my friends sort of went, oh, okay, cool. You know, they're sort of used to me doing crazy stuff, I guess. So I was very lucky in that most people were like, oh, okay, you're vegan now. And then it's usually, why? You know, and then you have to give a few examples. I will do another video of what it's like to live being vegan with a family, because I thought that was quite an interesting stuff, because I've recently chatted to a few of my friends about that, and I thought that was an interesting topic as well. But nowadays, when I come out as a vegan, or when I speak about veganism, I guess when I first became a vegan, I was very vocal about it. You know, we're like born again vegans, and I guess you've met a few of those yourselves, and yeah, and you mustn't do this, and you know, sitting at the lunch table and going about telling other people off for their habits. I've never done that, but I was very vocal in saying, yeah, I'm vegan now, you know, I don't eat that anymore, blah blah blah. Nowadays, I guess the way that I handle it personally is I don't really mention it, because if you think about it, no one who is omnivore goes around saying, by the way, I eat everything. So I thought, you know, I don't really have to go around telling people that I don't eat certain things. You know my stance on this. I'm not militant. I don't tell people off for how they behave, what they eat, etc. Of course, if somebody asks me, which is usually what happens when I mention that I'm vegan, I'm happy to educate them, or to, you know, at least tell them my opinion and why I'm vegan. This is usually what happens. So when it comes up, it's like, oh, do you want a piece of cake or whatever? And I say, no, thank you very much. It's probably got eggs in it, or, you know, it starts with a question, well, what sort of stuff has it got in it? Oh, you know, the usual egg milk, blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, well, I'm vegan, so I don't eat any of that. A lot of people often say, no, Baz can't have that. And I catch myself correcting them, and I say, it's not that I can't have that, it's that I choose not to have that. And for me, that's a very big distinction. But generally speaking, it comes up in conversation, or it usually happens when people either question my eating habits and, oh, you know, why aren't you having that piece of cake? Or if someone's leaving you or whatever. Or if someone wants to buy you a coffee or buy you anything to eat, like, do you want a muffin or blah, blah, and it sort of comes up that way. And I very quickly steer away from that conversation, not purposely, but I don't want it to become an argument, and I don't want it to become a, oh, look at that, just another vegan pushing his beliefs on us. And I don't do that. And you can very quickly distinguish between the people that actually have a genuine interest in it and they want to talk about it, and the people that sort of just go, oh, look at this guy, he's crazy. So I guess the point of this video was to say that I had luckily a very supportive family. There was a little bit of grumbling in the beginning, but I did just come out and say it. I didn't really fret about it. I mean, I guess at my age, that's not really a problem, because I don't live with my family, so I can cook and I can purchase items for myself. But please, 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 guys, share your stories with me. And maybe you still live with your parents. Maybe you live with a partner that is not vegan or has no intention of going vegan. And please tell me all about your challenges, and I might do a follow-up video for you guys to share. And look at each other's comments as well, and try and share your stories with each other. And also, please tell me how you handle being vegan in everyday life, as in coming out as a vegan when that comes up for the first time, either when you're out with friends at a bar or at a restaurant, or in the work environment, which I find very interesting. So thank you very much for watching yet another vlog of me just rambling on about random stuff. But I find this topic very interesting, and I can learn a lot from you guys, and hopefully you can learn a lot from reading these comments. And until then, I see you. Bye bye.